Welcome to Every Single Journey, a family life original podcast for singles. My name is Becki. I'm a single girl in my 30s who is passionately pursuing this life God has given me. Join me as we navigate the season of singleness together. Joining us today are Tately.
Hello, sorry. Hi.
And April.
Hi.
Today we're going to chat about the highs and lows of dating apps. Tately, what are some of your thoughts on that?
I have so many. I wanted to say just overall, before we even got into the nitty-gritty, that dating apps are just a tool. They in of themselves are not inherently bad, inherently good. They in of themselves do not have a morality. So I think it's easy to write them off just because of what they are. And just like every other tool, it's all about how you choose to use it. And the good or bad or morality is in the user. And so I just wanted to kind of like put that out there before we got into it, because I feel like sometimes there's a bit of a taboo in the Christian world and everything. And yeah, they're just a tool, and God can use anything, and he's not limited by our tools. And so he can use a dating app just as easily as he can use a meet cute in a coffee shop. Like, he's going to do what he's going to do. But just like, I don't know, certain medicines where it's not bad to use the tools given to you.
I love that perspective. And I would, as we were thinking of this, I thought of it more as a window. You know, sometimes it's easy to view it as like a marketplace or a store where you're making a selection. But I think I view it more as just like a window in the world and into humanity. And it's the particular people in the criterias I have selected that I'm getting to see. It's not everyone. It's just the people who are choosing to be on that app at that time that I am there, and that are in the age range and mileage range that I have put down. But like, it's just a little window. It's, again, I completely agree, Tately. I don't think it's like good or bad. It's just an opportunity.
I love both of your perspectives, and my perspective is I agree completely with you guys. But as soon as I hear the word dating apps, I'm like, no, it's not going to happen. And that's probably because technology has always been just something that I use it if it's there and I know how to use it, but learning a new piece of technology and all of that is just kind of scary to me. So like, just the technical part of it of like, oh, I have to learn how the app works. I have to learn what to put in. I have to figure out all of these different things. And then I get looking at it and I think I just overwhelm myself, because I'm like, there are so many people using them. How many people are out there? How many people am I going to have to filter through? Or what criteria do I put in? Like, is this more important than this? Or is that more important than that? And then what do I say about myself? And I just spiral into this ball of unnecessary intimidation and overwhelm. And I'm just like, okay, maybe if I take a step back and just take one piece of that, then I can find a way to move forward. And maybe even utilize that tool that we've been given. Because I have friends that I've known that have used dating apps, and they met on an app and they are now happily married. So I know there's a lot of success stories as well as a lot of kind of scary stories. So it's just kind of all over the board for me on like what I think of dating apps and how I approach it.
And that makes a lot of sense. And I think that we're all kind of prone to moments of overwhelm and moments of delight in all aspects of dating. And it can be particularly challenging with the apps because, you know, they are, there are a lot of great things and a lot of negative things depending on how we use them and how we approach them. And I love that we're going to be talking about that so that we can, you know, just kind of flesh out our experiences and maybe bring some encouragement to people who are curious or who've had different experiences, and just to share and see what God might lead us into our discussion.
So what are some of the challenges that we have found with dating apps? Some of the things that have been...
Before we do challenges, can we do positives?
Yes, of course. I think I always jump into the challenge instead of the positive, so let's change it up. What are some of the positives? April, would you like to go first?
I would love to go first. So I think one of the biggest positives that I have had on the dating apps is this beautiful opportunity for me to self-reflect and to find out what I want. And even in the like putting the prompts for the profile or the pictures. Like when I first started, it did feel really overwhelming. And I think I kept thinking of it as like, I have to sell myself. The best version of me needs to be out there for my Mr. Right. And I heard something that really changed my perspective on that. And it was like, kind of this concept that there's no wrong package. It just might be the wrong address. So like if my neighbor up the road buys a part for like a Dodge Ram and it gets delivered in my house, I might not see value in it. I might not want it. I might reject it. It doesn't mean it's the wrong package. It means it got shipped to the wrong address. And who I am as a person is a wonderful thing, as is every other person God created. Is it the right person for the next? We haven't found the right address for me yet, so it's out there somewhere. It keeps getting shipped around and like lost in route, but there is a right address, and there's a right address for someone for me. And so just like giving myself permission to say like, I can just be me authentically, and the men who aren't interested in me will self-select out. And that'll be fine. And the people that I'm maybe not as aligned with, I can select out. But there might be someone who, if I just authentically present myself, who might be interested, who I would never have had an opportunity to meet. And so it's just really caused me such an awareness of like, wow, this is my communication style. Or I found out like, I really like a good morning text. Like I didn't realize how lovely that was until, I started getting them. And just recognizing like there are things about myself that I get to learn in the context of relationships with others. And the dating apps have provided me an opportunity to do that.
I like that. I like that a lot. I like the address metaphor. And I like that that is such a positive. It's just the growth opportunity. And I think there's certain things out there in life, dating apps being one of them, that just put a magnifying glass on a lot of different things, good or bad. And it puts a magnifying glass on the growth opportunity within relationships, because it's almost like tons of mini ones, like mini decisions, mini conversations. And so you learn how to just engage someone in a conversation, how to make small talk. You might learn things you like, things you don't like, what your red flags are. And all of that's good, even if it's like an interesting path to figuring out, I don't like that. It's still good to learn that. And so I feel like there's a lot of chance for growth, even just in of yourself. There's chance to grow in grace in maybe receiving rejection and giving rejection. I think there's just a lot of opportunity for that. And I think a big positive is that, like you said, Becki, they do work. Like there are success stories. I think we all know someone who's like married now and met on a dating app. And so that's like a huge one is you might get married. I mean, that's kind of a pro. Like,
seems like that's like 5 out of 5 stars.
Like, that might just work for you.
That might just be the goal, the whole thing.
Well, at least our goals. Not everyone who's on them has that goal, but
true.
We do.
And like you said, like, oh my gosh, there's like 1,000 people out there, and like how many people are out there? And I think, that can be scary and overwhelming, but that's also a pro, is this chance to meet and connect with people you never would have otherwise. Like, I think sometimes even in just smaller communities or church communities, you can get kind of a bubble. And this is my little church friend bubble. And these are the people I hang out with all the time. And there's no one eligible within that bubble. And so I guess it just is what it is until maybe someone else moves here, or And dating apps just kind of help you expand that and just give you new opportunities to see what's out there.
I think my positives are kind of a mix of both of your guys's, because April, you were talking about the self-discovery and learning that you like good morning texts and just how sweet they are and just different things that you didn't know that you would like until they started happening. And for me, I think I have to backtrack it even a little bit further. And the pro of it is figuring out what qualities I'm interested in looking for in a partner, and also about myself, because up until pretty recently, I've lived very, very content being single with, if I get married, I get married. So if it's just going to happen, it's going to happen. And just being independent in a good way. But what I have not necessarily done until I started interacting with some dating apps and realizing, oh, like I have a lot of really good choices and things to say yes to or say no to. And they're not good or bad. It's just preferences that the Lord has built within me. And so for me, it's been identifying what those are and getting me out of that normal everyday routine rut, because I've just been living life and going as it goes. And I've been blessed to be one of those single people that is just very content to be single. Yes, I'm open to getting married and I'm looking for a spouse and all of what that entails, but I also need to be intentional about it. So dating apps have been encouraging for me, for helping me to realize, oh, I need to be intentional about this in a healthy way. I need to know myself, and there's some self-growth and self-discovery there, but also what am I looking for in a partner? Do I want someone who loves the country or someone who loves living in the city, or is that not really a big deal to me? And I think that helps take away some of the intimidation of the initial, oh no, dating apps are scary. Because once I know some of those things, then it's just putting that information out there. And like you said, April, hopefully it'll find the right address and we'll be good to go. And I really love that analogy, because then it takes fear of rejection and puts it in a better perspective. And it's like, oh, it might be, yes, it is rejection, but that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's just not a good connection. The other thing that I found is it's really nice to expand the amount of people that I have the potential to get to know. Because I live in a rural area, I run in the same circles. I am very introverted. I follow the same pattern most of the time. So I'm not necessarily meeting a lot of new people unless new people are coming to the area for work or for joining the church or whatever that is. So it's really nice to realize, oh, there are a lot of people out there. And this is one way that I can meet more people and start conversations.
And I think that meeting new people aspect is one of the really big positives that I have enjoyed, because I do have a long-term stability in both where I work and where I live. And so it's kind of really easy, you see the same people at the gym. It's like, it is tricky to think like, well, where are all the people out there? These are my choices. What I'm experiencing in life are the options I have. And I think that being on the apps, and I've been on a bunch of different ones, I think I was so pleasantly surprised at like, wow, there are a lot of really lovely people out there. And maybe I don't live in the same state as them, and depending on how much you pay, if you get free or what level of service you get, like obviously the filters impact things and your experience is impacted by that. But on some of the apps, like I was either free or the lowest cost. And so even though I had like maybe location restrictions, that didn't mean my profile wouldn't be restricted. It just meant I would see less people I'd see people in my area. But like, there were like lots of people from around the country that I was like, wow, you're really lovely. I don't want to move to Minnesota, but like, I think you're sweet as can be, and it gave me such hope. Like, oh, look at these nice humans out there in the planet. And like, they're living their lives and they have good morals and values and seemingly are like lovely catches. I'm just not in the same place as them. And so it takes some of that sense of like, just like scarcity away. Like, oh, there's not anyone out there becomes, oh, I just haven't met them, or they're not in kind of like the field or the locations that I'm searching.
Yeah.
And I love how it kind of fast tracks some things, because if we were to meet somebody in a coffee shop and start to get to know them, they could be traveling through the area and live in a completely different state. But the bonus with dating apps is we can put those filters on and pretty quickly see, where they're from, and lead to questions of finding out, do they want to stay there? Are they like you, April, and they're pretty solidified in where they live and where they work and want to stay in that area? Or are they open to moving? Because that might open up a possibility too. But it's kind of nice because it then helps narrow down almost in like a instinct kind of way of, oh, these are some of the things about them. Yes, I'm definitely interested. Let's start talking. Or these are some of the things about them. Doesn't quite fit me. Let's keep right on moving.
I think it can take out some of the guesswork too, because you kind of mentioning, oh, you might meet someone at a coffee shop. Okay, they might believe the same things as you. They might live in your area. They might be single. But you were talking about the intentionality of dating apps, and I think that's what's nice is there's just kind of a built-in intentionality there. And if everyone is being truthful, then you automatically know you're at the same place. There's not that guesswork of like, do I go talk to that person? Does that person like me? Like, there's already that. I know that we're here for the same reason. I know we like these certain same things because we said we did. And that can be a positive.
And I think, not to shift to the negatives, but that
Let's go ahead.
It's time.
but that truthful aspect
Yes.
is the most challenging aspect I have found of the dating apps, because you are getting a version of someone that they're presenting, and the amount of like reverse Google images I've done, and it's like, oh, you're actually that famous TikToker probably didn't move to Auburn and start working in a warehouse. Like, I think they're probably just stealing someone's picture, or, a lot of the responses are definitely Chat GTP. And you're like, oh, this isn't an authentic connection I'm having with someone. Someone's trying to sort of manipulate the circumstances. And marital statuses are obviously something that someone is just listing. You don't necessarily know if that's true or not until you're in it. And so those are all really tricky and challenging things to navigate. And I think having an open heart and trusting your gut and trust but verify where possible is a wise course, and not just rushing into things because of like a sense of like, oh, this is so exciting. I'm talking to this person and I feel all these things. And so now I'm just going to not like trust my judgment or use some of the same caution that I would in a real dating circumstance. I think the trust aspect has been the truthful aspect has been the most challenging that I have faced.
I think that for me is what holds me back the most from digging into dating apps more. Because I used them, probably a year ago, just for a very short amount of time. And for me, I'm like, I know that I have been hurt by people. So I know that one thing that I need to constantly work on is my trust in people. Because if you're like me and you've been hurt in certain ways, or if you're over or a certain number of times or whatever it is, and you know that's a blind spot and a struggle of yours of like, I need to learn to trust people at their word. And then you enter dating apps, and I've just, for some reason, for me, that's like the biggest downside of like, oh, but are they being truthful? But then I have to remind myself, just because they're on a dating app and they're talking to me doesn't mean they're not truthful.
Yeah.
Just as if I'm talking to a human being in front of me, they can be just as untruthful to my face as they can through a dating app. So I have to remind myself, it's not just the dating app that this is a con for, it's also in real life. But for some reason, that one seems to be like one of the glaring things that keeps me away from using them. And then also feeling like, okay, I'm putting out my profile and I'm putting out myself. So in a sense, I feel like I'm telling somebody exactly how to love me and exactly how to get me. And that is I recognize that that's not a great view and that I need to work on that. But it's like, oh, it's just one of the downsides that I see with dating apps. And it's one of those both pros and cons, because I think I was talking about earlier how it kind of fast tracks. You can look at somebody's profile and get an idea of who they are and be like, yes, I want to get to know you more. But for me, I see it as like a pro and a con, but that can also happen in real life. So it's one of those where it's like, oh, it's a con, but it's not. And it's just, I think, a lot of work I need to do on myself to get to that point of being able to use them.
And I think in real life, like you said, it's just as easy to be deceived. I can't tell you the number of people I know who unfortunately in life, their spouse turned out to be different than they planned them, or they presented themselves. People who said they were Christian, later maybe they found out they didn't actually have a relationship with God, but they went to church all the time because they knew that the other partner really valued that, or interests or things like activity levels. I know some people who they thought someone was really active, and then they got married and it's like, oh, you just want to sit on the couch every day? But some of that stuff doesn't just get misrepresented in dating apps. It's sometimes we want something so bad, we're willing to present a version of ourselves that isn't authentic. And I think that there is a temptation for that on the dating apps. But you also have an opportunity to, to do a Google search, and it's 2026. So if someone has a public Facebook, you can look at their stuff and be like, oh, you said you were single, but this is your wife that you're hugging. So that's kind of confusing, So I think that there's pros and cons to it all, but I wouldn't let the fear, just because there is this truthful issue, I wouldn't let that stop you from opportunity. And I just say that as someone who's a little older. And I honestly thought love would just happen in my life. I thought, oh, I'm going to be somewhere someday and I'm going to see someone, or a friend of mine's going to introduce me, or I'm going to be at church. And I didn't have that happen. And then, I was in my mid-30s and I had some sickness that I encountered that took me out for about 5 years. And then there was COVID that took the whole world out for a couple of years. And then now I'm in my late 40s, and it's these dating apps are really amazing because I can't be waiting around for the tomato guy to be hi, and then see if he's got a ring, and are you a Christian? Do you even live in the area? That's too much. Give me an app and I'll be okay, I'll scroll and maybe we'll talk. And if you don't like me, fine. But at least it feels like there's an opportunity, versus just when I thought it would just kind of organically happen. And it does for some people. It just didn't for me. So I guess probably because it didn't happen for me, I'm a little more cautious about people who are just I'm just going to wait and see. But, Lord's will is in there too. So that's the tricky part that I don't necessarily always embrace.
I think, we were saying, the apps themselves aren't good or bad. It's how people use them, and people might use them poorly. But people can use, like you said, you can meet anyone and they could say anything. And it's just another way that the apps can just amplify that negative. It's not they themselves. And so I think not so much a negative as a caution is if you're oh, do I want to use a dating app? Or even if you have started, I would say advice, caution is to just fully understand those pros and cons and make sure you yourself are at a place where you're ready. Because it can amplify the good and bad in others. And it can also, if you don't have a secure identity in Christ, it's going to bring that to light real fast.
Absolutely.
If you are a people pleaser who needs everyone to like you and is going to break down if someone doesn't like you, it's going to bring that to light real fast. And so anything like that, it's going to magnify. And I think, do you have to you need to be absolutely perfect before you dare put yourself out there? No, that's not what I'm saying, but just to realize those kinds of things and be ready. And it's before you even go, know your why. Why am I doing this? Am I doing this because I'm bored right now and I want attention? Am I doing this because everyone else around me has a husband and I just am jealous and want to be included? Or do I truly feel that I'm in a position and I'm secure in my relationship with Christ and I'm ready for this? And do I feel my why is in a correct place to get on? And then additionally, know your what, know what you're looking for to help narrow that down. So you're not just okay, here's the entire world. Now I have to shift through. No, do some of that ahead of time. Figure out what you're looking for. Figure out what you want in life. Be ready for those questions when they come your way. And that's just going to help these pros not hit as hard. And if you're on there and you are feeling like, oh my gosh, I just talked to 10 different people and none of it went anywhere, and now I'm getting like rejection fatigue. Take a step back for a little while. Like, don't do it to the point where now you just feel like, oh, no one wants me and blah, blah, blah. Like, those are just lies, and they're a tool, and the devil's going to use that tool too. Mm-hmm. And if that's a chance to make you feel like no one wants you because you just got 10 mini rejections in a row, he's going to do it. So you have to know your worth and keep reminding yourself of that. And if that means continually like stepping back and going back in, that's okay.
This is a little different subject, but like I have been so surprised at the amount of men that I've talked to that have just as equally been disappointed in the apps, like people coming after them for their money or for what they can get from them and not knowing if I'm an authentic person. And so I think it's both sides of it. It's not just like the women who need to be cautious, like, oh, these men are out there trying to just get what they want to get. Like, everyone needs to know these are just a tool that can be misused or used appropriately, and go into it with your eyes open. If I was going to like use a saw, I would need to take a few precautions and make certain that I knew what I was doing. And if I got in over my head, I would have to stop, just like you said, Tately. And so I think that like just being aware and having friends that you can connect with and vet people off and like, kind of share like, hey, is this normal? What do you think about this? That's been really helpful for me. And if you do end up having some difficult situations, look for how God can use them and what he can teach you in it. Like even the people pleasing you were talking about, Tately, that's a beautiful opportunity for us to remember like, wow, we have a God that we're supposed to please, and we should love and honor everyone, but it's not up to us to make them happy or like us. And so I think all of these moments in these things, even the worst of them, can be used by God just because he uses everything. He doesn't waste anything.
I love that everything that we've been talking about seems to, like, two things keep jumping out at me. And one of those is how people present themselves, whether it's through a dating app or in person. But it feels like when we're on dating apps, that's a bigger question. And I love, April, that you brought out that it's not just us who are looking at potential partners going, well, how are they presenting themselves? And they're on these couple different platforms, and I'm getting a bigger picture of that. But it's also, they're asking the same questions. So we're all on a similar page asking the same questions and questioning, how are they, is this just what they're presenting, or is this authentic, and is this true? And are they telling me the full truth? And just the reminder that gives me to how do I present myself, not just in everyday life, but when I'm looking for a partner or when I'm utilizing a dating app. And the other thing that I keep hearing is the involvement of community in your group of people outside of the dating app while you're using the dating app. And I know that's been one just really fun, encouraging thing for me, because April, you've shared different people that you're talking to, or you're going to go out on a date with somebody that you were talking to. And just, I feel like I've been involved in the process, and it's not just you like closing yourself off and just using the app. Or Tately, when you've met people, you're like, hey, I'm going to go meet this person on this day at this time. So
wisdom. That's another piece of advice. Don't just go meet a stranger without someone knowing where you are.
Some of the platforms have safe check-ins, and you can like put in that you're on the day, and like it depends on which one you're at.
That's kind of nice to know.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's just an awesome thing, because it's not only are you pulling your group of people in, but you're also being safe about it. You're like, look, I've done my best to make sure that this person is who they say they are, and we're really connecting, and I'm going to meet them in person. And here's this extra added just wisdom and level of safety. And so I think that's just something that's encouraged me, is I'm not alone in using the dating app. The overwhelm and the intimidation of it might be somewhat unique to me and my personality, or somebody listening might be feeling the same thing. But at the end of the day, I'm not alone if I choose to include my group of people, vetting people, or accountability, or just safety. And so it's just been a fun, good reminder to me, like, oh, there are a bunch of, there are challenges and there are good things, both personally and as we're looking for somebody, but also in just the bigger community aspect of it.
For me personally, I have experienced this like taboo of dating apps.
No, I've experienced that as well.
And I think it is like really prevalent in Christian circles.
Yeah.
I've experienced like if you're on dating apps, you're desperate. Oh, if you're on dating apps, you're not trusting God. And it's like, you can be very spiritually mature on a dating app, and you can be very spiritually immature off of one. So I feel like that's why it's important to be doing what we're doing right now and just having open dialogue about it, because then it's not embarrassing. It's not something to do in secret, and nothing we do should be over here in secret. Like, we need community. Yeah. It was established for a reason. And the more we're able to discuss with our friends, the more we can seek wisdom and advice, and just having those good friends that can speak truth into your life. So these different cons we've been mentioning, you have those friends there to help protect you. Like, oh, what if I'm getting obsessive? Have that friend that's like, okay, calm down. What if I'm feeling my source of identity slip because I'm so invested in presenting myself on these apps? Have those friends that you can go confess that to, and they can pray with you. And so, yeah, community is a huge part of it, and it's important.
I think it's really important to keep your life full.
Yeah.
As you're looking for love. And we've talked about this on other podcasts, like, this life we're living today is the life we have. We're not waiting for some moment in the future to start living. Like, this is the life God gave me today. And so keeping community, keeping friends, keeping my schedule, not dropping every single thing just because there's a date opportunity. Like, I want to be flexible, but like, if someone's like, hey, can you date me on a random Thursday and I have an appointment? It's like, well, how about Friday? Like, let's see if we can compromise, But I think that community aspect is so important. And there is a taboo that I have experienced as well, Tately, where it's kind of like, and I think it's a greater taboo of like, if you're single, sometimes there is this perception that there's something wrong with you and you haven't been chosen because you're not worthy of being chosen. And I think that's the biggest lie that I have had to fight against, that I'm not like waiting for someone to choose me in life. I am just waiting to see if someone aligns with my life and if they can come and be a part of it, and if I can be a part of their lives. And, and so like keeping interest, keeping activities, doing things outside of it, if you have close friends, hopefully you do. If you don't, find some, like, you need them. I think that's very important in life. But like, if the intensity of emotions have kicked up with some of the people I've matched with, I have a few friends. I'm like, hey, I need you we're just going to read through these text exchange just so that you can like check me, see how I'm doing, like see how my heart is in this. Am I losing myself? Am I getting swept away? And also I've literally pulled over on the side of the road and cried with some of my friends over some of these situations that didn't go to plan, because it's really easy to start hoping for things quickly. For me, that's my tendon. Like, that's my, if there's a danger spot for me, it's like seeing potential before it actually manifests, like dreaming of like, oh, well, when we're on our 5th date, it's like, well, maybe you should go on your first. Like, let's do that. Let's go have some coffee to see if we like each other before I'm like planning out like, the future. But like having friends that know me and are able to say like, April, hon, your heart's so pure. Like, it's fine. It's lovely that you're excited, but also like knowing who you are, knowing what you're willing to do, and then just following those is, I think, important.
And not letting the taboo, like you said, Tately, of other people's reaction dictate what we do, because I have actually received kind of the opposite that you guys have. Like, I've received 1 or 2 reactions of like, oh, dating apps, like, why would you get on that? But a lot of what I've received is, why aren't you on dating apps yet? That's how you're going to find your person. And I'm like, hold up here. That doesn't mean I'm going to find my person through a dating app. That doesn't mean I'm hopelessly lost. That doesn't mean I don't want to find love. Like, all of those kind of things is kind of the reaction I've received of like, well, you must not want it bad enough because you're not using dating apps. And so it's a part of something I have to remind myself of. The reaction and the taboo that I'm feeling or receiving from other people isn't necessarily the truth. And that shouldn't push me to use them more or push me to not use them based on what other people. It's just something that I really have to seek within myself and where the Lord has me right now and see maybe right now is the time to get on dating apps and maybe it's not, or maybe I'm on and off them, and just see that God has allowed us to have this tool and what is the best way I can utilize it for the season that I'm in right now.
When talking about dating apps, something I think is important to address, and you kind of did even like just jokingly, is I think in today's culture, and like even if you look at TV shows and movies and stuff, dating apps are presented in like this speed dating kind of shopping mentality of, like we were saying, like a strength is it produces intentionality, but kind of on the opposite side of that, it can produce flippancy, and I think there's certain ones that are known more for the hookup culture and things. And I think sometimes when you say you're on the apps, people that haven't used them or older, and maybe their only knowledge about apps or what they're seeing in Hollywood about this is just for a quick hookup and stuff. And so that might be what immediately comes to mind. And I think, again, that's why it's important to talk about of like, no, yes, that exists. Yes, that culture exists, but not everyone on there is for that. Not every app is for that. You can help protect yourself with different filters or just how you even phrase your bio. If you're really worried about it, put it right out there. This is why I'm here. This is not why I'm here. But I just feel like that's important to address, because I think that's what comes to a lot of people's minds. And I guess even the other side of that, as we're talking about the negatives or the dangers of it or something, and the need for community, is there might be a temptation there to kind of fall into that flippancy stage. You know, like we're getting older. We sometimes feel like we're the leftovers, and like I just want someone to love me, and it's so easy to because of that mentality slip into I just want some validation. Mm-hmm. So I will fall into this more shopping mentality of just I guess I'm not phrasing this well, but does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense to me.
A caution.
I think it makes a lot of sense. And I do think that is a strong caution because you're sometimes tempted to measure what you want in comparison to the last 7 people you just saw versus what you truly want. And I've had to Google more words, and like there are people out there who are just like, I'm a Christian and I'm married and I want a third person in my marriage. And it's like, okay, that's not my view of Christianity. I'm not going to say yes to that, you know? I hope it's not your view of Christianity either. Like, you know, but like there are people who are very clear in their presentation of what they want. And it is not a long-term, future committed, God-centered relationship. But in that, I think keeping the mindset that like this isn't shopping. This isn't, you know, it's not like, oh, this guy doesn't have cats in the bathtub with him, so maybe he's a good choice. But like, you know, like, is he got other aspects of who he is? Because the sea of humanity is vast and deep, and you see it all. And so it can be easy to be overwhelmed and be like, oh, these are my choices. I just got to pick the best out of this, versus like seeking God in it and being like, and knowing what you want, knowing who you are, and being like, does this match my long-term goal? Like if there were no other people on this app and this one person was here, would I consider it? I think I have used Bumble, Hinge, Match, eHarmony, Christian Mingle. I tried Tinder for like a day. And they all are very different. I'm currently on Match, and I mostly did that one because I'm currently actively using Match and Christian Mingle. And I chose Match because I looked to see what most people my age would use, and that was Match. And so, you know, I'm late 40s, so maybe younger people or people older would use different things. But I was trying to get the most population of people in my area. I think for my experience, Hinge and Tinder were the most like hookup culture. And Christian Mingle, I have, you know, I've had extremes, both ends of like people who don't want me to be vaccinated, and one of pure blood. And I'm like, oh boy, bless your soul. Like, I don't want polio. So I already am vaccinated. And I've had people who are like clearly married and they're on there saying like, oh, I'm just looking for love. And God said it's okay. And it's like, well, I don't really think that's how it works. So I don't think there's like a platform or like my experience, eHarmony, Christian Mingle, like those are supposedly more serious ones. I haven't necessarily found that it filtered out all of the people who have a very different understanding of Christianity than I do. However, I do think that there's a different approach and there's a much more forward in your faith in like Christian Mingle. Like people talk about their faith in their bios. It's something that's an easy start to the conversation. Whereas on like Match or Hinge, it can take longer to get into those conversations, or even like in my bio, I say like, I'm a Christian, I believe in God, and it's important. I think how you love people is super important in life, And so even though that's in there, like sometimes people skip over it. And how about you? What ones have you used? Oh, I used Bumble too.
Yeah. I've only tried Bumble and Upward.
Okay.
Did you say Upward when you were listening?
I haven't tried Upward.
So Upward is like the swiping version of Christian Mingle. It's like a Bumble type feel, but for Christian Mingle,
Mingle's got swipes.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. No.
For some reason, I was thinking that was like only like non-mobile app. But anyways, so yeah, it's just supposed to be like you can put in like your beliefs and your, I don't know, the church you go to and stuff. I actually stopped using that one because for a weird reason that seemed more stressful.
Okay.
Because I was experiencing more of, no, we believe the same thing because we're both on this app. Well, no. Yeah. And that was just, I don't know, for some reason getting tiring to me. So right now I'm on Bumble, but I don't use them very consistently at all.
I'm over here listening and getting the names of all the apps, and I'm like, if I decide to venture into these apps, I know who to ask for different advice on pros and cons for which one, and maybe I'll just pick one.
And I think it's important to remember, like, you're seeing the people who are there the time you're there. Like there could be some really amazing Viking Christians out there that are my age that just didn't happen to be on the app when I was, or that were on a different one. And I think it does kind of matter your demographic. I'm mostly with the divorced guys. And so like a lot of them are, kind of established in their careers and they don't want to move because they've got custody of their kids or they're like, in a business, they're running a business. And so I think being mindful of where you're at in life and then just giving it a go. Like, and if you don't like one, dump out of it. Like, I do recommend you, if you dump out of them, you mark that your profile, like in all your prompts, that this is not an active one. You delete all your pictures, and sometimes you have to like replace them. A lot of the apps won't let you just like delete all the pictures. You have to like have a few. So I do like all landscapes and like one picture of like a cartoon or something. And I mark like this is not an active account because I've definitely seen that numerous times in my swiping, like people saying like, I'm not here anymore. But sometimes those, depending on the particular platform, sometimes those old accounts can still be there.
There's some you can pause too. Like
you can pause.
Like, put me on pause, and then it just stops showing.
Yeah, you
to
can
people.
definitely do that. But I do when I abandon them, I like to get my information off as much as I can.
Yeah, I would say like, I don't know, if you're on the fence, try it. Like,
give it a go.
If it's because you're just kind of afraid, like I encourage you to just be brave, have a moment of bravery. If it's because you're not sure it's for you, I encourage you to pray about it some more and do some self-searching and speak to some wise people in your life and then try it. Because if you get on, you're not then promising that this is what you're going to use for the rest of your life and how you're going to find the person you're going to be with. You're just trying it. Like it's not some big serious thing. And I would say like, again, it's not embarrassing. It doesn't mean you're desperate. It doesn't mean you don't think God is sovereign anymore, like because he is and he will use whatever. And he's for you and it's okay. It's okay to try it. And I think like we shared some practical advice on how to use them wisely, but I would say just in general, if you decide to try it or you are trying it and you get 10 matches one day and you get 0 matches the next day, your worth is the same that first day and the second day.
Absolutely.
Matches don't equal your worth. mini rejections, which could look like someone ghosted you, someone straight up says like, I don't see this going anywhere, or you swipe on someone but you don't match. None of those mini rejections equal your worth or your value. They're not rejections from God. Mm-hmm. Being ghosted isn't being forgotten by God. Like all those things that come up, who you are and your value does not change. And you have to hold on to that to use them. But I would still say, try it out.
I love that. I would say the same.
Mm-hmm. Well, you both might have just convinced me to try it. So we'll see if I take that step of bravery and get over the intimidation and overwhelm of it and do it.
And if you do, remember, all new things you're a learner in, and you have to give yourself grace. And if you've never done this before, you have a learning curve that's can be steep, but also like give yourself grace, give yourself space and time. And just like Tately said, keep going back to God and remember who you are and keep remembering like, wow, God's for me. Even if I have no matches for 4 weeks, like God is for me. Like maybe he's protecting me from what would be, you know, like your worth is determined by God and immutable, unchangeable, always will be the same. You will always be adored and always be loved and always be chosen, even when it doesn't feel like it.
Thanks for listening to episode 18 of Every Single Journey. If you've liked what you've heard, click the subscribe button to be notified when future episodes are available. You can also share this podcast on your social media pages so others can be encouraged too. If you're looking for more faith-based content like this, be sure to check out Family Life's other original podcasts, including If That Makes Sense, 10 Minutes With, You Can't Say That on Christian Radio, Therese Talk, and the Parable Podcast. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Your financial gifts make podcasts like this possible as we seek to share the hope we have in Jesus. You can find out more on our website at familylife.org.